So, going to talk a little bit about book 2, which is titled What Christians Believe, chapter 2, which is titled The Invasion in Mere Christianity. Sometimes people will ask, how can there be like good and evil, or how can there be good in the world? Even this year, I know I've had at least one or two students bring that question up. So we'll start to unpack that a little bit today. So I want to start off pulling up a picture here about the big picture of what's going on in the book. So remember that we've already established that we all agree that people have this sense of right and wrong, and Lewis comes up with 3 possible causes. He wants to say that the religious view makes the most sense, and he gives reasons for that. So now we're starting to unpack in book 2 if there is a God, what can we start to say about him? So that's what Lewis is doing primarily in book 2. So this is the first of 2 charts about chapter 2 that I want to briefly comment on. Lewis begins chapter 2 with distinguishing between atheism and Christianity, or the Christian God. So in regards to atheism, atheists might make the claim that if God exists, he would make religion simple. And so if this whole idea of God becoming a man, and then we call him Jesus, and then he dies, and that takes away all of our sins, like an atheist might say, that's all too complicated. If God were to do it, he would make it simple. So remember, Lewis himself, when he was a teenager, he began to think this way, that there is no God. So that's kind of the fun part about this book, is he's lived this out, and he's kind of answering these questions that he's asked. So the response that Lewis gives is over here in the right column, that life is often complicated. So it's fitting that religion may contain elements that are complex. So it's pretty cool. He gives this example of the planets. And when he first learned about the planets, he thought, oh, well, if there's 9 planets, they'll kind of be equally distant apart, and there's some order there. But he found out that the planets they're not like that. They're all different distances from the sun, and they're not equally distant from each other. One has 1 moon, one has 4 moons, one has a ring. So just as the point is Lewis is trying to drive home, is that reality itself, life itself, is often complicated. So it's fitting that religion, Christianity, may contain elements that may seem complicated, like that God became man, and we call him Jesus, and all the different things going on in religion with the sacraments. One other thing I want to bring up here, is Lewis. Here, we're coming back to that question I brought up at the beginning of the video. How can we make sense of there being a God or God when there's also good and evil? So Lewis comes up with 2 possible solutions to this question. One is dualism. I think dualism was more common in the past, but it's a belief that there's 2 gods, or these 2 superpowers that are in charge of the universe. One of them's good, one of them's evil, and they're constantly kind of fighting with each other. The other possible solution is a Christian God, he's a good God, but he permits evil. He allows evil to exist in the world. So both of these solutions give us an answer to how there can be good and evil and also a God. So I wanted to just lay out a few of these big ideas in chapter 2, amidst all the other details as well. So enjoy reading chapter 2.